After obtaining the true scriptures, Sun Wukong was granted the title of victorious fighting Buddha. However, he did not stay in the heavenly palace. Instead, he returned to Flower Fruit Mountain. He initially planned to retire and enjoy his remaining years in peace. But after enduring 500 years and going through the trials and hardships of the 81 challenges, in the eyes of the heavenly court, Sun Wukong was still nothing more than an unruly monkey. Facing the heavenly soldiers and generals who could easily flatten Flower Fruit Mountain, the Monkey King stepped on his cloud, wielded his golden staff, and passed through lush forests and valleys full of blooming flowers. Alone, he came before the gods. In terms of combat strength, he was vastly superior, unafraid of any weapons the enemy might wield. In terms of magic, the Monkey King easily surpassed their fire, wind, and thunder spells. In terms of loyalty, the Monkey King's heart, filled with righteousness, could never be swayed by the highest powers. Was his iron staff, which could shatter all illusions, truly as invincible as his name suggests? All right. I've got it. I, old Sun, don't care for titles. I only wish to return to Flower Fruit Mountain, to live a carefree life. The Jade Emperor above doesn't trust me. I understand. They send you to bring some shrimp soldiers and crab generals, all for show. They want to trick me into going back and becoming a god again. I get it too. What I don't get is, how dare you try to kill me? The mighty General Deng Mu scolded with fierce anger, and on his shoulder stood the true Lord Qing Yuan Miaodao. Hearing Sun Wukong's insolent words, Erlangshan leaped into the air, howling as he swiftly moved, turning into a swirl of black smoke, crashing in front of the Monkey King. Foolish dog. Impudent. Step back now. Remember this well. He is not an ordinary monkey. He is a monkey with merit. He is the monkey who was once granted Buddhahood. Aside from me, no one is qualified to duel him. Erlangshan didn't want to waste time. His intention was simple. For the Monkey King, there were only two outcomes: either he would return to the heavenly court or be beheaded by the three-pronged blade. As for Flower Fruit Mountain, it would inevitably be flattened. The Monkey King, hearing this, didn't waste any time and immediately took action. But halfway through the battle, Erlangshan suddenly vanished into the air. What now? Victorious fighting Buddha, do you know how many people have sought the immortality of Buddhahood, yet failed? Immortality? The 3 realms and 6 paths were destroyed because of these 4 words. Having spoken these words, the Monkey King and Erlangshan continued their fierce battle. Yang Jian, a naturally headstrong and righteous man, originally set out to safeguard the peace of the 3 realms and ease the suffering of the people. But now, he had to act. Did the Monkey King really bloodily massacre Flower Fruit Mountain? And has the 3-eyed true lord lost all understanding of the truth? Of course not. But now, Erlangshan must pretend to side with the heavenly court. You've taken the heavenly path, but your nature has not changed. Today, no one can save you. Good-hearted. Your blade is dull. It's just right to scratch Sun Wukong's itch. Since the great sage calls Yang Jian a brother, he clearly doesn't see him as a real enemy. One side is the great sage equal to heaven, Sun Wukong, the leader of all demons, who rejects the cycle of reincarnation, defies the 5 elements, defeats the heavenly army, and shatters the 9 yang constellations. The other side is the half-god, half-human protector of the heavenly court, Yang Jian, leader of the 7 saints of Maishan, and the howling sky god who follows him. With his heavenly eye, he can see through the yin and yang, and perceive all illusions. With his divine weapon, sharp and overwhelming, he can cut through demons and spirits alike. These two are equally matched in skill and intellect. This stage battle must be fought so fiercely that even the gods in heaven will be deceived. Live well. One person at a time. Dodging the mounting god's axe, the Monkey King suddenly saw the Buddha light. To keep the plan hidden, the Monkey King transformed into a small bird and flew towards Flower Fruit Mountain. Yang Jian, in the form of a white eagle, swiftly pursued him. The next moment, the pain from the golden hoop around the Monkey King's head forced him to fall to the ground below. At this point, young Jin had no other choice but to deliver the final blow. As time passed and the seasons changed, the fallen Monkey King turned into a strange stone, while Flower Fruit Mountain remained untouched. The Monkey Elder said that the Monkey King's body was hidden inside the stone. If one could find the 6 missing bones of the Monkey King, he could be resurrected. For 100 years, no one had seen these 6 divine items, let alone gathered them together. But Flower Fruit Mountain was not lacking in those destined by fate, and the young man behind would be the one to fulfill that destiny. To revive the once great Monkey King, the destined one set out on a journey to find the 6 bones.
In order to revive the once great sage, the destined person embarked on a journey to find the 6 roots. The 6 relics correspond to 6 chapters. The first chapter involves encountering the Black Wind King, also known as the Black Bear Demon. When Guanin's temple was burned by fierce flames, Jin Qi lost his life on the spot. The Black Wind, subdued by Guanin, spent a century rebuilding the temple, restoring the sacred scriptures, and even aiding in the ascension of the deceased monks. Now, under orders from others, the Black Wind Demon took one of the 6 roots of the Great Sage. After defeating the human form of the Black Wind, the destined person arrived at the still-burning mountaintop. The second stop was facing the true form of the Black Wind. The defeated Black Wind expressed his helplessness, stating that he could not refine the 6 bones of the Great Sage. Had it not been for someone higher up ordering him to collect it, the Black Bear Demon would not have dared to target the sage. With one of the 6 roots of the Great Sage now in the hands of the destined person, a story about the Black Bear Demon and Elder Jin Qi began to unfold. Young Jin Qi had always been greedy for wealth. During a hunt for a golden toad, he ran deep into the forest and there, he met the Black Bear Demon. The Black Bear did not devour Jin Qi instead, it gave him a bag of jewels. The two, sharing the same greed, soon formed an alliance. Jin Qi had a deep fondness for various robes, which represented power and wealth. This desire nourished the Black Wind at his side, and with the Black Wind's help, Jin Qi persevered and ascended to the position of elder, wearing a robe that towered over the other monks. With this identity, he began to indiscriminately collect various robes to satisfy his inner desires. With this identity, he recklessly collected robes to satisfy his desires. One day, Tang Xing and his disciples passed by. The elder Jin Qi borrowed Tang Xing's robe to admire it. It was this robe, which did not belong to him, that turned his pure heart into a fleeting notion. His greed for wealth consumed his original nature, and he ultimately became a slave to all worldly desires. To claim the robe for himself, Jin Qi set fire to the monastery, trying to send Tang Xing and his disciples away. At the same time, the Black Wind, who also coveted treasures, did not want to miss this opportunity. While he could care less about other robes, Tang Xing's robe was considered a precious treasure by the Black Bear. In the ensuing struggle, the entire temple was engulfed in flames, with suffering souls scattered and corpses everywhere, yet the 2 disciples who should have been part of the chaos were already far removed from the scene. Wukong did not intervene, simply watching quietly from a distance. Later, the Black Wind was subdued by Guanin and converted to Buddhism. However, the Black Wind, now wearing the same golden hoop, never understood why Elder Jin Qi, who should have severed his worldly attachments, became so obsessed with a robe. Guanin smiled and said, "Only by wearing the robe can one truly see if they have let go of their desires. The key is not whether you can wear it, but whether you can take it off." Tang Xing viewed the robe as simply clothing and could remove it without hesitation. While Tang Xing could take it off, Jin Qi could not. Jin Qi clung to the robe as a precious treasure. Once worn, his mind and body had already fallen into the mundane world. The difference between the two was clear. In the second chapter, the destined person arrived at the Yellow Wind Ridge. With the guidance of a headless bodhisattva, he fought through numerous trials and finally confronted the great demon, the rat spirit, Huang Feng de Xing. He held a container that contained one of the 6 bones of the great sage, which was actually the head of the headless bodhisattva, Ling Ji Bodhisattva. After defeating Huang Feng, the bodhisattva revealed his true form. He gently raised the fallen head and restored it to its original place. The true image of this bodhisattva is currently housed in the British Museum, and the act of returning the head to its rightful place speaks volumes about the meaning of restoration. Ling Ji Bodhisattva was the keeper of Huang Feng. He explained that Huang Feng had secretly obtained one of the 6 bones of the great sage and had schemed against him, severing his head. Throughout this story of cause and effect, the bodhisattva never opened his eyes. Although one of the 6 roots was returned to the destined person, this did not mean that the story was entirely true. The land of the former kingdom of killing was once known as the land of the setting sun. The Buddha established the project to accumulate merit using the faith of the people and protect their well-being. However, the trend of people trusting in the Buddha and not the king led the king of the kingdom of killing to feel discontented. He ordered the destruction of the temples and the dispersal of the monks, hoping to make the people place their faith in him. In response, heaven sent a giant insect to punish the kingdom of killing. On the insect's back was the head of Lingji Bodhisattva. With the blessing of the Buddha's power, the insect became unstoppable. Ordinary humans were no match for it. At this time, Wukong happened to pass through the area. To protect the nearby village, Wukong killed the giant insect. This act led the people to shift their faith from Buddhism to demons. Such actions enraged the Buddha. Since force could not punish him, the Buddha decided to vent his anger through magic. In his rage, the Buddha transformed all the people of the kingdom of killing into mice. Wukong, like a heroic figure who helps the weak and fights for justice, wanted to save the people from peril. But his intervention shattered the upper class's power structure, and the result was a nation suffering, his own allies torn apart, and Wukong himself becoming an unwilling prisoner. Like, there are knives and high mountains. There are people, little heaven. You study, and there will be bloodshed. I'm really frustrated. You can't escape either. With the defeat of Wukong, the second story unfolds. A man ascending the mountain discovers an injured snow fox at the summit. Out of kindness, the man saves the fox and brings it home to tend to its wounds. After a night, the man wakes up to find that the snow fox has transformed into a young woman. Man and demon, over time, fall in love and come together. As time passes, they live happily, with children and grandchildren. Life seems peaceful, and they are ready to enjoy their later years in comfort. But one day, the man comes home to find blood spilled everywhere. Rushing inside, he discovers that his children and grandchildren are all dead.
The man woke up from a nightmare and quickly turned around, relieved to find that the snow lake was still the same as before. But as soon as he stepped out the door, the beautiful snow lake had turned into a scarf wrapped around his neck. What is a human? What is a demon? What is Buddha, and what is a demon? A human with a beast's heart, a Buddha in the guise of a demon. Good and evil are separated by a single thought. No matter the outward appearance, no matter the belief, all creatures are walking their own path. Some can control their own life and death, while others can control the lives of others. In the vast web of control, the rider believes they can manipulate the pieces, but little do they know, outside the chessboard, someone else is making the rules. In the third chapter, the destined person enters the temple by the frozen lake and meets the little Maitreya Buddha. Maitreya releases the mighty Dragon King, and after defeating him, the destined person hears the voices of his second brother. After defeating the King of Gold, the destined person rescues his second brother. Together, they continue their journey to find the great sage's 6 roots. In this chapter, the mansion is ruled by the yellow-browed king, Maitreya's young disciple, who steals the golden fur and takes control of the temple, causing all the people to worship him. The yellow-browed king once studied Buddhism with Maitreya, so his powers were naturally greater than those of ordinary demons. Using his powerful pagoda, the destined person couldn't resist and was sucked inside. Inside the pagoda, not only was Pigsy subdued, but there was also the evil Monkey King, the symbol of inner corruption. The horse monkey couldn't defeat the destined person and was quickly subdued. However, in a final moment of rage, the destined person struck a killing blow. With that blow, dark evil energy enveloped the destined person, clouding his mind. This was exactly what Yellow-Browed wanted to see. He used a giant hand to pull the now darkened destined person out of the pagoda, turning every Buddha statue into an enemy. Yellow-Browed believed that the more the destined person killed, the deeper his mind would fall into darkness. But what you choose to do or not do, what you see or fail to see, all comes from the heart. It may look like a Buddha's face, but in reality, it's Yellow-Browed's demon. It may appear as if the destined person is corrupted, but in fact, it's his method of handling things. In Yellow-Browed's eyes, both Buddha and demon will kill for their own purposes. But in the destined person's heart, killing depends on who the opponent is. When faced with extreme evil, there's no need for mercy. Good and evil are distinct, with cause and effect. You may wear the robes of a Buddha to do evil, but I can use the demon's language to punish and correct evil. Sometimes, evil must be countered with evil. Breaking free from all obstacles, the destined person shatters his chains and faces Yellow-Browed once more. With his strong and determined will, Yellow-Browed was no match for him. I've seen through your fate. As long as you fight for others, you'll eventually die at their hands. I, Yellow-Browed, only fight for myself. After escaping, Yellow-Browed still clung to a sliver of hope, but the situation was beyond saving. Even if he felt reluctant, no more changes were possible. As Yellow-Browed fell into the icy pit, Maitreya suddenly appeared. Just like before with the Bodhisattva, he laid all the blame on Yellow-Browed. At this point, I think you can start to see a pattern. The Black Bear Demon had already said earlier that the Great Sage's 6 bones couldn't be refined by demons. If it weren't for someone directing them, they wouldn't even have a chance to see them, let alone try to refine them. The Heavenly Court used Yang Jian to defeat the Great Sage. Did they really not want any spoils of war? The Yellow Bee has the Buddha's head, and Yellow-Browed has the Buddha's golden fur. Both are world-destroying treasures. How could they so easily fall into the hands of a Demon King? The collaboration between Black and White seems to be a mutual benefit, but in reality, the Black is the slave, and the White is the master. These so-called demons are merely sacrificial lambs. When the forces behind them see the destined person coming, they know their time is up. They transform into guides, washing their hands of everything. The 6 roots of the Great Sage might be dispensable, but their own reputation cannot be destroyed. As for the captive Demon Kings, if you let them live, they're kings. If you let them die, they're mere beasts. As Yellow-Browed returned to his true form, a golden fish rose high into the sky, and with that, the third story unfolded. Yellow-Browed had once been a disciple of the Golden Cicada, and he had transformed into a sea monster, deliberately captured by fishermen. The fishermen brought the creature back to their village, discovering that when it sliced its skin, treasures would fall out, and its claws could heal ailments, while its saliva could beautify skin. The powerful sea monster became a deity in the village's eyes, and using his powers, he stirred the sea, offering fish to those who praised him. Over time, the sea monster had his own temple, and people came from all over to worship him. To stoke humanity's most greedy desires, Yellow-Browed began to slice his skin, giving each villager an equal share of jewels. In the crowd, a man's eyes shone with unmistakable desire. He approached the monster and slit its belly, causing countless treasures to spill. Initially sober villagers rushed to stop him, but as the treasures kept spilling, no one could control their greed. Everyone turned into devils, greedily tearing at the monster's body. The ugly sea monster and the beautiful pearls, the devout villagers and the greedy hearts, formed a stark contrast. Time passed, and the village was destroyed in the chaos. The rotting Yellow-Browed was left with nothing but his shell. At that moment, the Golden Cicada came to visit his old master. Yellow-Browed, in an attempt to prove the Golden Cicada wrong, reversed the cause and effect, using human greed's consequences to prove the innate greed of mankind. He thought he had won this round, but the Golden Cicada had already seen through the desires and emotions of the world. Human nature is inherently chaotic and cannot be summed up in one sentence. Everyone has greed, and the righteous path is to control it. If you cannot control it, you will walk the path of destruction.